Vixe, é literatura? Oh no, it's literature!
One Art by Elizabeth Bishop. The art of losing isn't hard to master. So many things seem filled with the intent to be lost that their loss is no disaster. Lose something every day, except the fluster of lost door keys, the hour badly spent. The art of losing isn't hard to master. Then practice losing further, losing faster, places and names, and where it was you meant to travel. None of this will bring disaster. I lost my mother's watch. And look, my last or next to last of 3 lovely houses went. The art of losing isn't hard to master. I lost 2 cities, lovely ones, and vaster some realms I owned. 2 rivers, a continent. I missed them. But it wasn't a disaster. Even losing you, the joking voice, a gesture I love, I shouldn't have lied. It is evident the art of losing is not too hard to master, though it may look like, write it, like disaster. I chose the poem One Art by Elizabeth Bishop. She's an American writer. And originally she published in the New Yorker in 1976. And later that year, she included this poem in her book, Geography 3. She was born in 1911 and died in 1979. She came from a wealthy family, so she didn't have to worry about money and a job. And she traveled throughout Europe and the world, and she came to Brazil in the 50s. Here she fell in love with a woman called Lota de Macedo Soares, and they lived together for 14 years. Sadly, Soares took her own life in 1967. And she is a divisive topic in Brazil because in her letters she defended the Brazilian military coup. But I didn't choose her, I chose her poem. Then I looked at her history and I was like, okay, I can work with that. So, the poem is a villanelle, and that means it's a French highly structured poem made of 5 tercets, followed by a quatrain with repeated sounds, rhymes, and refrains. She starts the first tercet with the statement, "The art of losing isn't hard to master," and she means it. For the whole poem, she believes this statement. And for her, it's not difficult to be good at losing. Then she continues to validate this point of view that it's not difficult to lose by saying things that there are things that are made to be lost, and like door keys and hours spent poorly. And more, she thinks that there is no disaster in losing them. It's not difficult because they're not important to her. After that, in the third tercet, she asked the reader to join her in her journey of mastering the art of losing. It is like she's getting close to us, but not too close, because she's still talking about things that apparently are not important to her, and they shouldn't be important to us either. So she's still sure that losing isn't hard to master, or that losing isn't a disaster. And until now, I think I agree with those things that she said, but it is in the 4th and the 5th tercet that things become more personal, and I quote her verses. I lost my mother's watch, and look, my last or next to last of 3 lovely houses went. I lost 2 cities, lovely ones, a continent. In these verses, she reveals personal stuff. It's nothing like in the beginning where she was talking about trivial things. Now these things matter. And she misses them. She misses these things. But she can't give up, right? Even after that, even after admitting that she misses these things, these personal things, she still believes that losing isn't hard. Finally, in the quatrain, she expresses the most terrible loss that a human can handle. She lost a loved one. And like in the last verses, she admits that she misses them, misses her, or misses him. And she misses peculiar things about this person. And now it is totally personal and emotional. And sad, it's so sad. But the writer is not the giving up type, and she will not admit that losing is hard. But she ends it saying that it is harder than she thought it would be, and may look like a disaster sometimes. And I think she's talking about a she, her. She's talking about Lothar, her partner, and the loved one that she lost. And also I felt compassion and sadness for the author. And reading was like, I don't know, like it gave me a feeling of despair. I mean, it's an amazing poem. I loved it. I chose the poem before I chose the author. And when I read the first time, it didn't give me this sense of despair. But when I know this tragic event that happened in their lives, I think it's tragic, and I think that gave me this feeling. And it's so hard to lose someone for me, and for her, I think it's like she's trying to convince herself at the end to keep it together, right? To keep it going. And I identify with her, but I disagree. I think it's very hard to lose someone. And I don't know, it was very sad, but I think it was beautiful. And that's it.
Vixe, é literatura? Oh no, it's literature!